Hello, welcome back to this channel. Today we're going to talk about what is gamification. So using gamification in training and in other situations at work. So this is absolute basics of gamification. If you're looking for expert advice, this wouldn't be the video. But if you want to understand what gamification in the workplace is, this is perfect. So we're going to talk about what gamification is, the benefits for workplace training, traditional learning versus gamification, and we're going to give some examples of gamification at work and talk about the pitfalls, tips, and the future. Let's get straight into it as always. So what is gamification and how can we use it in the workplace? Gamification basically is when you use gaming elements for non-gaming situations. So for example, at work, when we're doing training for employees, we can use gaming elements. So it's not a game, you're not playing against people online, but you're using these elements from gamification, from gaming, in order to make training more interesting. Don't worry, I'm going to explain more about this as we go through these few slides. So gamification draws on human behaviors. So we give rewards, we make it more competitive, we show progress. So we're using these kind of elements in training. So we might use badges popping up on screen, award people points, or other graphics coming on screen saying congratulations and well done on your progress. These are kind of elements that we're going to be using in training when we're using gamification. So what are the benefits of gamification in the workplace? Higher level of engagement is one of the key benefits. By turning training into more of a game, making it more exciting, interesting, making people feel rewarding their behavior, they're likely to be more engaged, more likely to complete the training. And when we talk about training such as, some training that can be quite boring in reality, when you start with a company, if you have to do compliance training, for most of us it can be a bit boring, so we want to try and make it more engaging. And we need people to finish this type of training, so we need to find ways to make it easier. So a benefit also is motivation, so people are more motivated when it's more competitive, or certain people are. And a fantastic use of gamification in training is when we're using it for simulations. So imagine a customer service situation. If we can actually do a role play as a simulation of a customer service situation, employees get the opportunity to really understand and train and experience what it would be like if they were dealing with, let's say, a difficult customer. You want them to try and experience it, and it becomes second nature dealing with these kind of situations. And gamification can be used for simulations, and this is a huge advantage. And with gamification as well, once you have implemented gamification into online learning, for example, it's very scalable and you can use it on apps, use your own apps. All employees could use this. The problem is the initial investment. It can cost a lot of money. So this is really going to suit much bigger companies. If you're a decent sized company and you need to offer a lot of training to employees, gamification elements are certainly worth considering. If you're just a sole trader, an individual, 1, 2, 3 people, gamification is probably not going to be a realistic thing to be looking to develop for your employees for their training. I designed a simple diagram. This is on the website. I will leave a link below this video. It's just the benefits explained again. So higher completion rates, improved employee motivation. You can use it for simulations. It's good for collaboration. Let me explain collaboration. Because employees, when they're using gamification elements, and it's like for online learning on the phone, on your iPad, you're using your laptop, quite often you can tie it in so that multiple employees can do the learning at the same time. So they could actually be doing the learning together as a collaboration. With gamification, it makes it easier to do this. Cost-effective training, but as I said, only if you are doing it on a large scale, realistically. I just also want to talk about traditional learning versus gamification, just to make it a little bit clearer also. So it's not all or nothing. You can have gamification elements, but you don't have to gamify the whole of your training. If you want employees to learn online, you can have rewards and you can have collaborative learning. but you don't have to gamify all of it. So it's not an all or nothing strategy. A great thing, of course, about gamification, it can be very interactive. People can do it in their own time. You add in this fun factor. But with traditional learning, more often it would be like sitting in a classroom. It could be for 1 hour. It could be for half a day, a full day. Can be tedious. But then again, with traditional learning, you've got the social element. For the person-to-person interaction, traditional learning, some might argue, is much better. So there are benefits to both. With gamification, though, you do have immediate feedback as well, or you can do, because you can have a progress bar. You can have people do a quiz and they get the immediate score directly afterwards. So it's much easier to do this immediate feedback element using gamification for employee training. And importantly, it can be personalized. With things such as AI, we can personalize things much easier because we can track the progress, track what people are looking at, track the speed with which they complete training, how they're doing with the training, and we can personalize it much more specifically to that employee, to that individual employee. This is a strength of gamification, personalization. Let me give you a quick few examples of workplace gamification. With sales training, for example, you can have leaderboards. Use them digitally, so sales staff can check the leaderboards all the time, so you can use it for elements such as this. With customer service, as I mentioned, you can have role plays and simulations. It's very powerful in this respect, using gamification for customer service training. As I've also mentioned, compliance, it could be very useful gamification for this. And onboarding, again, there's quite a few things in onboarding, or it's called induction in the UK. It's not always the most interesting thing, learning about the policies and terms and conditions or the certain aspects of the company, but you can make it more interesting using gamification, make it less painful for the employees when they start the company, make it more fun when they start in that first week. So what are the pitfalls and what's the future of gamification? Well, I can certainly tell you it's not going away. Gamification is here to stay. It's going to develop, if anything. But you can over-gamify training as well. If you make it too gimmicky, too silly really, too many things popping up on screen, it can be over-gamified. It can be very distracting sometimes. I experienced this myself learning Italian, or trying to learn Italian with one of the apps. I won't say the name of it. Quite a well-known one. Things popping up on screen all the time, just gave up. So it can be over-gamified sometimes. And it can get boring sometimes, having things pop up on screen, and if it's too gimmicky, it can get very boring. But of course, as we mentioned, the huge benefit, it can be personalized for learning, and AI is just going to make this personalization come even faster. So it can make learning more specific and more effective for the employee and for us as a company. And micro-learning is important here, because micro-learning is when I'm going to do a video very shortly on this, but micro-learning in essence is when you have like bite-sized training. People can have their smartphone, access the training at any time, do it in like 4 or 5 minute videos or quizzes. They do it in small pieces, and they learn on the go, or they learn at any time as they wish to. And this mixed with gamification is just going to get bigger and bigger. So this micro-learning and gamification are here to stay. So my final thoughts. I've just mentioned actually about micro-learning. There's a video coming up, and I'm going to go into more detail about micro-learning in the next video, so you might be interested in that. 7 resilience activities and games for training sessions. I will be doing that. That's going to be in the next 2 videos. And I'm also going to be doing 8 life coaching tips to get your life in order. So those are the next 3 videos coming up. So you might want to subscribe. What do we do, by the way? We sell training and teaching materials. I won't bore you anymore with that, but there's a link below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Dr. Paul Simmons. I work for Simmons Research, one of the co-founders with Dr. Valeria Loiacono. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.